My name's Amy Hayes, and this is the Quaint Little Finds podcast. And I am on a journey selling slash flipping secondhand new and vintage items. And I hope with this podcast to inspire or encourage or empower others to do the same. I have tech issues on tech issues on tech issues. It's been a wild past 2 days. I recorded this and um, recorded the whole thing, disassembled everything. I went back to go edit. The software that I had paid for was not allowing me to edit with it. So it's just been a technical issues journey, and then actual you know setup of okay, I need to make sure that the screen recording does not include it doesn't just look like a screen recording of someone recording something, because you couldn't see anything because it wasn't backed up enough. I couldn't just crop it. It had the time stamp and um the whole recording page on there, so it was just kind of a waste. And yesterday's was kind of an awkward flop, but I got enough to know I could edit at least. Which with this one, I don't know. I think I might just go in and be raw and be like, hey, look at me. I'm having technical issues and I don't know what I'm doing, but hopefully it's entertaining. Also, my computer is breathing, so hopefully I can change the settings with the editing. But yeah, and then my whole backdrop fell apart. I wasn't super satisfied with the quality of it, so I figured I would just kind of give it another go anyways. But sometimes I care too much about what people think, and I'm a perfectionist, so it's a deadly mix. But yeah, with this podcast, I'm kind of just hoping to be just authentic and bring value in some way. I have no idea what I mean, I know what my goal is, and I've kind of mentioned that in the beginning, but I don't really know what it's going to kind of evolve into. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm excited, and that's cool. And yay. So, yeah, I'll have to report back to Alexa and let her know that I failed her, because a few days ago I asked her, I was like, how do you make a podcast? And she's like, well, if you don't have all the right equipment and content and blah, 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 then the quality of your podcast may be laughable. Very encouraging. Thank you, Alexa. I appreciate that. I hope the quality of this video is not trash, and that the podcast is not trash. At least the first video might be trash. But maybe just embrace that it's trash, and then it's just entertainment, and then it's just marketing for the next one if you obviously meant for it to be trash. For entertainment. Trash podcasts. Not trash TV, but trash podcasts, but not trash TV. See, this is why when I make my videos, I use cuts. Lots and lots of cuts. Because I'm I have to tell myself, Amy, this is not worth saying. This was not worth saying. This is not important. Let your brain do its thing, but we are just gonna trim all of these cuts down and down and down, and hopefully it's less than 10 minutes long. Yeah, so welcome. I am really excited to have fun making this podcast and share just some of the things that I've learned in the past couple years, or the past few years, several years, wherever you want to kind of start the timeline. I'm really excited to share what I've learned through those things, and hopefully can add something of value. Because I think that it's really important for everyone to share the knowledge that they've acquired over their life or through a certain thing. Because that's how you learn. That's why we read books. I love learning stuff from people. I hope that I can share things that are new, things you haven't heard before that are helpful. So, another thing, disclaimer, I am not an expert by any means at all. I can say that I've been consistently, every week working, doing what I've been doing for a little bit over 2 years. And before that, it was patchy and inconsistent, and just kind of was dabbling in it. So, I mean, I did learn some things from then too. Yeah, but I'm not an expert. I would say I'm more uh, I mean, I have a long, long way to go. I'm still very early on in the learning curve. I did ask around a little bit, kind of like input as to what to talk about as for my first video or my first podcast. And I didn't really go into like my story because um, in the videos because I wanted to say it for the podcast. Oh, I also wanted to say that I feel that over the time that I have learned and grown doing what I do, it's been amazing. However, I feel like at a place where I'm like past the beginner level, more as like an intermediate level. I'm still early on the learning curve, have a way longer way to go, and I'm excited for that. And I do love the process. And the beginning can be tough, but I feel like I am confident enough in my abilities and what I've learned to be able to share tips, tricks, basics, how to, whatever, my experiences, my stories of things that have happened, have had to problem solve through them. Because there's like a lot of troubleshooting. Some people have horrible experiences because the package comes like messed up and you have to deal with it. You're shipping glass, like do not use UPS. That's all I have to say. Unless you have literally a bubble wrap tree in your backyard, do not use UPS for glass. I've had very few things go through without breaking, and every time I get there and I get a good review, I'm like shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, it got there. It got there, John, and it's okay. It's not broken. Yeah, but it's tricky if you don't have insurance on the package, and if you do, and you still have to go through all of that and everything, and then sometimes they can't even help you anyways. And at least that's been my experience with them. So I love USPS, and I love through Mercari. They're easier option with FedEx. I have very few things break that way. So, anyways, um, but yeah, I'm definitely I feel confident enough to be able to help beginners and people that are kind of on the fence of starting and that sort of thing. Um, I'll just kind of cover like my entrepreneurial spirit, how that started, how I got into thrifting, how I got into reselling, still trying to talk in the mic here and struggling to do that. And then yeah, how I got into reselling, how I met John, and how when we came together, how that helped this all evolve, and how he helped push me into making this into a business. So, those will be basically the things that I'll cover, and then at the end, I'll probably just have an awkward silence and be like, well, that's it. Thanks, guys. So yes, but I've had ADHD my whole life. It's not just like a made up thing. So just bear with me as I'm all over the place. So when I was really young, my parents noticed that I had a kind of a entrepreneurial spirit. In kindergarten, um, I made paper slides, like you know the cool Yeezy slides you see nowadays. Yeah, imagine those being made with two pieces of paper with crayon and staples. Just really top of the line items to be taking custom orders for, you know, luxury goods right there. Um, but I have a vague memory of it. My mom said it was just funny. I think I did make money and bring money home. I don't know how much, probably $1, but I made some custom blue crayon shoes and probably some purple and yellow and some rainbow combos. Um, But yeah, I think that was when it started. My dad has recently retired, but he owned a printing company and did really well. And he owned it for, gosh, I want to say 30 years, I think. Like just about like 30 to 33 years. So he did really well, and I think that's just kind of something that um, runs in families. Just kind of like the gravitational pull towards being your own boss. Um, was that a dorky way to say that? I don't know. Yeah, so I kind of got that from him, and it was funny. I like remember him like getting an like making an eBay account when I was a kid, and he goes and makes this eBay account, and I was like, what is that? He's like, well, you can sell your stuff on there. I was like, really? I have some artwork that I would like to sell. I was like 5 or 6. And it started at 1 cent. Nobody bid on it. I was like, not really a fan of eBay. So fast forward, um, in elementary school, my mom, like my parents are divorced, but I was at my mom's house and I was really into doing nails at the time, decided to turn her garage into a mini spa nail place. Like, I think I called it Tropic Spa, and I would have all the girls on the street in the neighborhood would come like have me do their nails, and that was fun. Brought like warm tubs of water out for pedicures and things like that. It was fun. Um, and then fast forward, um, well, growing up, I always I grew up in kind of like a, nicer part of town, and for some reason, it wasn't something my parents said, might have been something that someone at school said or something, but I thought thrift stores were gross. I thought used clothes, other than my cousin's hand-me-downs, were gross. Like, you're wearing her used clothes. You can wear other people's used clothes. It's not disgusting. Put it in the washer. Anyways, so we had like in high school, there was like this 80s dance, my like freshman year, I think, freshman or sophomore year, and I didn't want to go spend a bunch of money at American Apparel finding something to wear and then wearing it once. So I went to Goodwill, and sorry, one second here. I'm gonna have to edit 40 minutes of time. How did that happen? Okay, we're almost done. Also, we're not on a time limit of how much we have to cut out. It's fine. We'll just put it on YouTube and tell everyone where the link is, and hopefully they don't click on it. Oh yeah, so I went to Goodwill, and in like the back of my head, I was like, this place is kind of gross, but I need to find what I'm looking for. And then I found what I was looking for, but as I was trying to go find what I was looking for and trying to not look at the other clothes, I saw some other really cute stuff. And I went back the next week with my mom, and the next week again, and we went very often. And then when I got my license, I went very often and would fill my cart to literally the brim or above and be in their fitting room for an hour or an hour and a half trying stuff on. I just really liked that it was a way for me to experiment with fashion in a way that was affordable. I think that was just really big for me, and like, and feeling confident in clothing and stuff, because I always felt kind of limited to a few stores and didn't always love what I found. And just kind of felt like I was like, okay, here's my only option. But when you go to a Goodwill, it's like you got all these different sizes from all these different time periods and very different styles, and you can just kind of see something and see it has potential and work with it and have fun with it. And being like a more creative brained person, I loved that. Anyways, sorry for the distraction again. But yeah, so I kind of became like addicted to thrifting. So I sort of just kind of accumulated a lot of clothing items and random items for myself throughout high school and early college, and like a lot. And I filled my bedroom at my parents' and filled my dorm room, which it was cool though looking back, because I would literally go through every single rack that they had to find stuff. Because when I did that, I would find Lululemon. When I did that, I would find, what's another brand? Nike. When I did that, I would find whatever brands I liked back then, or just finding vintage things was always super exciting. Um, yeah, so I think from that experience of just going to thrift stores and being there for hours and flipping through so many hangers, I think that really helped me. I think that really was an experience that has helped me and still helps me to this day. I had a lot of stuff, to say the least, that I didn't pay a lot for, but I had a lot of stuff. So then I was in college. I had a bunch of stuff, and my roommate at the time, she had been selling on Mercari, and she had been saying that, that was the way that she was buying her groceries for a while. And I was like, really? Like, show me your ways. What are you doing? And she showed me, you just take pictures, put a description in, someone you list it, someone buys it, you get a label, you print out the label. At the time I was like, walk to the library and go print out the label. Luckily now I have a label printer machine that's right under my desk. So thank goodness. But yeah, and then you ship out your package through the post office on campus. Yeah, so then I dabbled in that myself. I was like, this is super cool. I want to do this. I have a bunch of stuff that I need to sell, so I might as well. So I started listening to a bunch of random stuff from my closet and stuff, and um started getting sales, and that was cool. But my very, very first sale was also a 1-star review. So, great example of just learn and keep going. Um, when you have dogs, like my parents have two border collies that I was kind of like living with, going back and forth on campus, whatever, it was complicated, but um like my this flannel was just kind of coated in dog hair. But when you have dogs, sometimes you get dog hair everywhere and you don't really notice that your stuff has dog hair all over it, and then you just assume no one else would notice, and you don't inspect it, and then you shove it in the poly mailer, ship it out, and then you did that a week late, and then she gets her package and it's covered in dog hair and late. So, yeah, she was not happy. She sent it was a very long, mean review, but that's okay. We learned. And then, yeah, but I kept selling stuff and I was really enjoying it. I was really getting into it, and wasn't really doing it too consistently, just kind of whenever I had things in my dorm room that I was done with, which, you're kind of limited on space, so it wasn't very often. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in social entrepreneurship, so at least it was kind of along the lines of what I'm doing. I graduated in 2020, so there were no jobs, and I was just home all the time with my family, and we needed to get rid of a bunch of stuff. And I had a bunch of stuff too, so I had a massive amount of things I needed to list, and I really wanted a new computer, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell stuff for now while I'm looking for a job, and I'm gonna get myself a new computer, which I did in like a month, like a nice computer. So that was really exciting for me. I was like, I love doing this. Like, I had so much motivation, more than I had in many other things that I'd done before, many other jobs I'd done before, school, like, doesn't even compare. Just had a lot of motivation to just to list items. So that's what I was doing all day, every day, and I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. But I felt like I needed to get a real job, quote, quote, real job. So I hunted for office jobs and things like that, and I kind of wanted to get a job, like a paid position, not like salary raised in ministry, which is kind of hard to find unless you start that way also, at least from what I understand. And um, my stepmom had her friend over one day, and she was like, "Oh, I know someone you should talk to." And so I went and talked to him, and unfortunately, the position was not really what I was looking for. but I did decide to help out and volunteer there, and that is how I met John. So he had just moved to Illinois for work from Columbus, Ohio, and he had made his way, got plugged into a church, and that church that someone had recommended to him actually from his college, and that like seen that he had moved. So she's like, "Oh, check out this church, and this church. I grew up in that area, whatever." He's like, "Okay." So he ended up getting plugged in at a church there, and then it was really cool because then someone at that church was really like someone that didn't really work there or anything was like just kind of like took him in as a buddy, and um then he was like, I don't really ask people to come with me to this thing, but do you want to come with me to this thing and volunteer with me? And he was like, yeah. So something in him was like, yeah, like, I don't know. I just feel like you're supposed to come here with me. And so I met John, and it was great, and it was sweet. And I will leave out the gushy details of the whole interaction and everything. But we were dating then within a week, went on our first date the day after we met, and realized that we both loved thrifting. So that was a huge part of our time dating. We'd go thrifting all the time, hitting up the sales and doing all that together and just having fun, finding cool clothes. And um, one day we were like, because he had seen me selling stuff, he's like you should try to give this a shot. I was like, you know what, you're right. But I think this is the timeline. I actually had an office job first that I hated, hated, hated it. I hope no one knows what I'm talking about. But I hated it. And it made me realize that I'm like, I cannot work for people. I will not do it. I need to work from home. I need to be alone. I need my own accountability. I need to take um, ownership in what I'm doing and knowing that I'm not just filling someone else's wallet, being bossed around, being nitpicky with me. I was like, I can't do this. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of jobs out there that I would have thrived in and it would have been great and I would have loved it and everything, but I quickly learned that that job was not for me. So, and as I was still kind of looking around, we knew we were getting married, we knew we were potentially going to be moving. So I was like, how about you just give this a shot? I'll buy some backdrop supplies and we'll go thrifting together and let's see what happens. Like, okay, let's do it. So he really like helped push me. He was like, you have a gift and you need to use it and you need to give it a chance. Um, so he pushed me to do that. Um, and then right after we got married, I was figuring out how to flip things until we moved to Ohio. I was just used to selling my own stuff, really. I mean, the way that it started was like rough. I was overpricing things that were, I didn't know how to look up what things were worth, actually worth. It is so different for every single item, every single brand, every single, it's like, um, you need an accurate comparison of what it's selling for, or like a comp, I didn't know how to look that up until we started watching some YouTube videos when we got here in Dayton, Ohio. And for his he kind of did like a rotation leadership thing with his job, and and kind of getting lazy earlier on when we moved here, and it's like, I don't know, I was just being more of like a housewife and was doing helpful things, but like, I don't know. I wasn't, I needed something to pour myself into and be creative um and just like be excited about and passionate about and something that would bring in money. So I was like, I had done some door dashing before, but I didn't really like it and was like, okay, how about this? I will bring in, I guess I should just tell you guys. Like this is a little bit embarrassing. It's very humbling. I was like, okay, I tell you what, I'll bring in $1,000 a month and I'm gonna try to do it flipping stuff And I know that if like the last week of the month, if I'm not even close to hitting my goal, then I will go with DoorDash for that last week of the month. And guess what? I never had to DoorDash ever again. It was like, whoa, I when I actually try, and I was growing and learning, and um all of a sudden I like something flipped a switch and I was no longer really even shopping for myself when I was going to the thrift store. I was just shopping for inventory, and that was a whole new thing. So exciting. There's like a rush when you find something that's worth um that's like apparently worth a good amount of money, and then you just have to make sure you go and list it right away, because what can form is what's called like a death pile of things that um you buy. You have the little rush of like, oh, this is what it's worth, and then it just goes to a pile, and then you go back thrifting again and the pile builds. So you don't want that. But yeah, so it's been really cool. I'm trying to just kind of expand my business, learn more, try different sourcing methods, doing things like this now that I feel like I'm not a total beginner. Um, but there's a lot I don't know still, and a lot that I'm excited to learn. And there's a lot of niche areas within this, like baseball cards. Whoa, I tried. I was like, I'm not into baseball. I can't do this. If you're into baseball, you could probably get into it. But like, I could not. Same thing with like with video games or like vintage items too. Like I love vintage items. I can get into that, and I've gotten better at that and have grown at that. But like video games, I can't really get into it that much. Like I love video games, but I don't appreciate vintage Pokemon. I don't appreciate going through all these games that I don't care about it at GameStop and finding a way to flip it. Like it's not in me. I love clothes. I love vintage items. I love, some hard goods, some vintage toys, whatever I can kind of get my hands on where I know for sure that it's going to be worth something, that's going to flip. Not, oh, well, if I get this graded and inspected and like I will not be there for that. So that's kind of the neat thing though also about reselling, is that there's not just one type of reselling to be a reseller. It's like some people do exclusively shoes, some people do exclusively beauty products, some people do exclusively whatever, you know. So it's really cool. You can kind of make it your own. And I'm really grateful for. Did that sound insincere? I'm really, really grateful that we kind of fell into this. I mean, that John pushed me to do it, that he saw something there and wanted me to give it a shot. And I never had to go door dashing again, and I don't think I ever will have to. Um, Things have just kind of gone up and up and up from there. Even that first month, the goal was surpassed, and I was ecstatic to not go DoorDash. So, yeah, it's just really, really cool that you can just bring in money doing your thing. I don't know how else to put it. Um, as long as you work, and then you'll, reap the rewards from that later. But I felt really like God had um placed this in our lives, because down the road, when we have kids, I can be home. I can bring them with me to a Salvation Army and have them in my shopping cart with me, and it can be fun, and I can get them stuff for super cheap, and I can get stuff to flip and stuff for our family for super cheap, and then bring in a bunch more income and save on all the other expenses. And it's just awesome to know that down the line, and I can be home with them. If we want to homeschool, I don't know what we're gonna do, but I can be here, and um just having that flexibility is so big, and it's just the perfect job for me. I know it won't be for everybody, um but it could be a really great um job for a lot of people that feel like they're tied to home and don't have any way to work, don't have the flexibility to bring in income for their family. And um yeah, I have just been kind of learning and growing and doing the videos, and If you have not seen them yet, I'll link my TikTok in this. So that's kind of it. That's kind of the story. And John has helped me along the way and encouraged me and just really affirmed me, and um, I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, I hope that this, after it's edited and everything, I hope it's cleaned up. Um I hope it's bearable. But this is the one I'm gonna be posting, so I'm going for it, and I might have to mess around with the sound settings a lot. And I promise that my next podcast next week will, it won't be on a Sunday though. I don't know yet, but it'll be next week. I'll pick a day for it to come out regularly. But it'll be better. The setup will be better, the backdrop will be better, the lighting will be better, the microphone situation and all this gear will be better. It'll be much more planned and organized and figured out, and I won't be as apathetic coming into it after wasting my time trying failed attempts and disappointments. And but now we're here and we're doing it and we've done it, and that's good. So, again, I've hoped I've added something of value. I hope that I've at least, if not, that I've brought some entertainment for the first 2 seconds that someone watched this and then stopped watching. Whoever you are out there, thank you. Um, yeah, but I'm really excited to see again what this podcast evolves into. This is just the basics of like my story and stuff. I'm gonna have way more helpful, consistent content that I'll be pushing out, more detailed and thorough and helpful than the videos that I have that I'm pumping out. I mean, I'm trying to make those helpful too, but there's only so much you can cover. So, on short videos. So, yeah. So, again, thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope that you have a great day, afternoon, or morning whenever you're watching this or listening to this. Thanks for sticking around. If anyone did, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm excited for the next one. I'll see you guys later. I will link my TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. I've always wanted to do this down below or in the note section. Is that what you call it in the podcasty thing? If I put it on there. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. Please let me know if you have any questions, things you want me to cover. I do need ideas for other podcasts and things like that. Just kind of get the wheels turning. As for, just some questions that people have about reselling and sourcing and platforms or whatever. So please let me know. And yeah, thanks, guys.